In this video, we're going to talk about estimation questions in product management interviews. My name is Kevin Wei, I'm a PM, and I'm here to help you land your dream job in tech. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for new tech interview prep videos every single week. Estimation questions are tough because they're so open-ended. You might get a question like, tell me how many cars are in the city of Seattle. Since there are so many paths you can take to answer a question like this, it can feel super difficult to get started. It can also be hard to explain your thought process or do quick whiteboard math in the time that you have. To counteract these problems, I'm going to share 3 tips you can take to ace any estimation question. Remember, the goal of estimation questions is not for you to get the right answer. Rather, they test your ability to think outside the box. Your interviewer is more concerned with how you think about a problem rather than the answer you came up with. Tip number 1, estimate via proxy. An excellent way to estimate a number is to figure out another related and known number. Maybe you'll start your estimation of the number of cars in Seattle by hypothesizing that the number of cars is directly related to the number of families. Well, the number of families in Seattle is definitely easier to come up with, so once you have a related quantity, all you have to do is scale that number up or down. For example, if you assume there are 300,000 households in Seattle, it doesn't mean there are 300,000 cars in Seattle. Each household may have, on average, 2 cars. So 300,000 households with 2 cars each helps you guess that there are 600,000 cars in Seattle. Tip number 2, upper and lower bounds. Another way to estimate a figure is by starting with the extremes. What are the realistic upper and lower bounds on what you're trying to estimate? Come up with these numbers and then whittle them down to a concrete number. For example, the extreme lower limit of cars in Seattle is if no one owned any cars, so the lower limit is 0. And realistically, the extreme upper limit is if everyone owned a car. This would probably be around the population size of Seattle, so let's say 1 million people. If you take the average of these 2 numbers, you get 500,000 cars in Seattle. The actual number is closer to around 430,000, but in your interviewer won't care as much about the correctness as much as they care about your process. So, whittle down your ranges with relevant assumptions to get closer to a concrete answer. Tip number 3, personal references. When all else fails, relate the unknown quantity to some known quantity in your life. With our number of cars in Seattle question again, you might know that 50% of your friends have cars. You can also make a guess that half of all Seattleites are around the same age as you and your friends, given the prevalence of tech companies in the city. Then the other 50% of the population might have more or fewer cars than your friends. It'll be up to you to make this type of estimation. If you assume that the population of Seattle is around 1 million people, this means that there are at least 250,000 cars in the city. This number comes from estimating that at least half of all Seattle residents are in the same age group as all of your friends, and half of those people have cars. From here, you'll estimate the car ownership rate of the remaining half of the population. In other words, the group not similar to your friends. You can make assumptions about age, proximity to city center, or any other metric that can help you reasonably estimate how the remainder of the population uses cars. As a word of warning, your interviewer will be on the lookout for you to call out any biases you may have if you use personal references. For example, maybe you live in a city like Los Angeles, where it's very common for people to have cars. Or you might live in a city like New York City, where it's common for people to take public transit instead of owning a car. Mention these thoughts to your interviewer to show that you're thinking holistically about the problem. Using personal references won't be as accurate as the first 2 methods, but it's a good starting point, especially if you can recognize your biases and adjust accordingly. And there you have it. These are 3 methods you can use to tackle estimation questions in your interview. Always remember to gut check your answer to see if it's too high or too low, and revise your number if you feel like you have incorrectly assumed something. I hope this helped paint a picture of how you can navigate ambiguous estimation questions. For more PM interview prep content, Exponent has the best resources to help you ace your interview. including in-depth courses, private coaching, and a community of experts ready to help you prep for even the toughest questions. Hit that subscribe button for new videos every single week, and go to tryexponent.com to become a member today. Thanks for watching.